What's good? What's good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Urban Platform Speaks. Make sure to like and subscribe as you tune into the channel and check out the content. So, with that being said, man, I want to speak on J- Jayson Tatum and what's the guy named Carmelo Anthony. Right, a couple weeks ago, Carmelo Anthony spoke about not a couple weeks, probably like last week. Carmelo spoke about Jayson Tatum coming back to the Celtics, and he gave some advice to him. Just basically telling him to be careful not to disrupt the chemistry and the rhythm that the team have. Just work your way back in slowly is what Carmelo basically said. Right? Allow Jalen Brown to continue to to run the team, run things the way he been running. Don't interrupt that, right? Now, the trainer for Jayson Tatum came out and said, gave a statement and said that how can if you never won anything, how can you give some advice? And so I got to be honest, when I first heard Carmelo Anthony's statement telling him not to disrupt the chemistry of the team and just to go along with the flow, that's the first thing I thought. That was like, you know what, people gonna say, like, number one, you haven't won a championship. Number two, you was in a similar situation where you did disrupt the chemistry, right? And which I think that situation was different, in my opinion, because you had Jeremy Lin when all that Linsanity stuff was going on, and Jeremy Lin was playing for the New York Knicks, and Carmelo Anthony wasn't there. And so people were saying, the way that the team was running with Jeremy Lin and without Carmelo, Carmelo just need to come in and find a way to keep that, keep that momentum going. But then when he came, it didn't work out that way. And so people saying, well, you didn't do the advice that you given is not what you did when you was in that situation. Which I think, I don't know. But I just know I knew that people was going to bring up Carmelo Anthony's past and say that he wasn't qualified to give that, that type of advice. So on the 520 podcast, they were speaking about like the statements what's this agent name? His name is Drew Henlin. And he just said, man, he's a trainer. I'm sorry, he's not an agent. He's a trainer for Jayson Tatum. And he said, if you never won anything, how can you give advice on how to, how you should win things, right? And I don't know. Is it a fair question? I mean, you can say it and you can say it, but maybe Carmelo's giving advice based on like, don't make the same mistakes I made. He might be looking at it from that point of view, right? And so now, if I'm Jayson Tatum, I don't want my trainer going out there starting beefs. If that's a discussion that Jayson Tatum had with him and his trainer, then we keep that in house. No matter how we feel personally about what Carmelo said, let's just keep it amongst ourselves. Whether you gonna poo poo the advice coming from him because you don't feel like he qualified. That's cool, but I don't want my trainer out there giving public statements about Carmelo Anthony, right? And so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna play the audio, the reaction from the guys from the 520 podcast, and them guys give their input on what's his name, Drew Hanlon said about Carmelo Anthony.
All right.
Defensive player, Finals MVP. Love Melo.
Kawhi Cole, bro.
Speaking of Melo, did y'all see Drew Hanlon talking about what could Jayson Tatum learn from Carmelo Anthony?
You can learn from a great,
Hey man,
bro.
you got
That's a
relax,
great,
bro.
You can, bro.
You can always learn from a great.
Bro,
It's some of that post work.
One of the best people ever touched basketball, bro. You can always
For
learn
sure.
from Carmelo
If
Anthony.
he
man.
have something to say about basketball, you probably should listen.
Yeah, bro.
What kind of fucking question is that, though?
Yeah, bro. Like,
Yeah, so the way they're saying it is, if Carmelo Anthony has something to say about basketball, you should listen. And that's I agree with that, right? But that don't mean that you have to take his advice. Just listen, and be like, all right, if this sound like something, and I'm sure Jayson Tatum did, he heard it, evidently because the trainer is speaking about it. So he heard it. If you're going to listen to it, that's cool. But when you start to express your feelings about everything publicly, then that's where the mistake comes in. You can feel the way you want to feel, but you don't. It's not good to always let people know what you're thinking.
What's that? What question?
What could he learn? Is he asking like?
He said, how you gonna tell him about winning and you never won?
Like what? Like,
that's what I'm saying, bro.
Stay out of that, bro.
Yeah,
that's Carmelo Anthony.
Trying to get this nigga a different skill to his game, and you talking about winning the championship?
It's Carmelo Anthony, bro. That's the inner conversation.
Flat out.
Yeah, some people that damn hoop for real.
That's bullshit.
Yeah, just stay out of that, bro.
Like actually, like,
yeah, Drew Hill was a good trainer, bro.
Drew,
shout out to him,
but I probably.
It's okay to be wrong though. If he wrong, he made a mistake.
I probably just want to say nothing.
You didn't have to be wrong about that one though. You didn't even have to say nothing.
He did.
You didn't even have to say that.
But I'm saying if he trying to help Jayson Tatum get better in a certain area, it has nothing to do with him winning the championship.
He kind of told him he should let JB keep killing and kind of just
play his role.
Play his role.
Like play a new role. And I get with Drew as a trainer, like, but I just probably wouldn't say nothing to Carmelo.
Yeah, it's Melo, bro.
I'll be like, okay.
And see that's my thing. Like the trainer, I don't think it was the trainers, his position, his place to speak on what Carmelo said. You know, just go ahead and do your job. You know, you don't have anything to do with what Carmelo take is on the situation. But in this social media era, everybody thinks that it's okay to comment on stuff, and you can comment on anything, and so what if I'm Jayson Tatum? Would I listen to Carmelo Anthony? If I'm him, yeah, that don't mean you have to follow through with his advice, but yeah, Carmelo has experience, so yeah, I would definitely listen to Carmelo.
I'll probably text Jason and be like,
let Tatum say that if you want to say it.
Yeah,
and I feel like there's just lines that certain people who haven't made it through that threshold shouldn't cross. Like, I'd be crazy to come tell a Hall of Famer that you can't learn from somebody else, bro. Who the fuck am I?
I'm not saying shit to Melo, bro. If he talking basketball, just listen, bro.
Yeah, bro.
Let me see what Melo talking about.
Yeah, just relax.
I could disagree, but I just disagree. Like, I don't know about that one, Melo.
Yeah, and we're gonna leave it at that. You feel me? Like,
yeah. And so that's the approach I think like I said, it just don't say anything at all publicly. Just allow Carmelo to have his opinion. I think the trainer was out of his lane, to comment with on what Carmelo said. I think that number one, if I'm Jayson Tatum, because people are going to think that this statement is the way Jayson Tatum either he felt like this, or either he condoned what the guy is saying, right? And so, I'm like, look, man, you got to be careful what you say publicly, especially when you commenting on my situation, because people are going to think that I said this. This is something that I said, and this is the way that I feel. When that's just not. It may not be the situation, and you don't want to cause animosity. Like, like if a trainer causes animosity between these two guys, like that's not something that he has to suffer the repercussions. That's something that's going to come down on Jayson Tatum. So if there's animosity, that's, because Carmelo Anthony and the trainer, Carmelo not going to say nothing to the trainer. Because people really don't even know this trainer outside of certain circles in basketball. Like, athletes probably know him, but publicly, I don't even, like, if this guy walked past me today, I wouldn't even know it, and so, but the people you do know, the person you do know is Jayson Tatum. So, that's why I think that I definitely, in my opinion, I wouldn't want this guy speaking up on my behalf. So that's, no matter how I felt about Carmelo Anthony's advice, whether I felt like it was good advice, whether I felt like, he was out of line. He don't know what he's talking about because Carmelo's never won a championship. So who is he to speak on, who is he to give advice on how to win a championship when you've never won a championship? Or who is he to give advice in this type of situation when you did the exact opposite? Like when the shoe was on the other foot, you did the exact opposite of what you're telling me to do. So, it is what it is, though. And that's my take on it. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Also, don't forget to leave a comment. And with that being said, man, I'm going to check y'all out in the next video.